A very good evening, all of you. So, today we have a very interesting topic, yet, of course, we all talk about math, and people are very scared of numbers. So, it's not only kids, but also us adults. So, today we thought that formulas, was one thing which was very important, but we couldn't actually get the hang of it because we tried and mugged them up, and because of the exam anxiety and because of some fear, we used to forget those because of the same. So today our topic is easy ways to remember math formulas, which I think would be very, very beneficial for all the kids and also parents at the same time, so that they can use these tricks and tips in order to actually make their children have fun with numbers and learn it with ease, and no kind of exam stress and anxiety would hamper it. So, yes, we have Jane, we have Disha, and we have Akriti with us today, who are going to enlighten us on this topic about easy ways to remember math formulas. But before we begin, I would just like each one of you to give a small introduction about yourself. So, we begin with Jane.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jane, and I'm working as a HR associate at igebra.
Okay, Disha.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Disha, and I'm working as Customer Success Executive in igebra.
Akriti.
Hi everyone. So my name is Akriti and I'm working as a content editor at igebra.
Okay. So, Jane, now I want to really ask you. So, of course, we all are afraid of those long formulas, and we keep doing a plus b plus square, this, that, and it all puzzles in the head. So, were you also one of these kinds of kids, or were you the brilliant one who knew everything on the tips?
No, absolutely not. I was in the other lot where I was really scared of formulas. I actually looked at them as big giants falling after me. And maybe I think before a math exam, I would also have that anxiety and panic attacks, just to memorize those
Yeah.
formulas. I would just keep writing them down just to memorize them and make sure that I get marks. So that's all my motive was to understand the formulas. Yeah.
Okay. Disha, what about you?
When I was studying everything, and the most toughest subject for me was maths. The reason being, it was so hard for me to memorize anything about it, like the formulas and everything. It was so tough. So my sister suggested me to develop an interest in maths. So I used to teach myself. Like I used to play teacher with myself. And the blackboard I used to write the formula, and that's how I created an interest in that subject. I teach to myself, and that's how I passed my exams.
Okay, so even I am in that boat where I felt it was a nightmare and it used to all get mixed up. And I used to feel so bad because after the exam, when you're relaxed, you actually remember the right thing. But in the exam, it was always the wrong thing. So,
Right.
what did you, Jane, do about the same? Did you work for it? Or if you worked for it, what did you do? What were your tips and tricks actually that you used for this?
Yeah. So I think the basic thing which I followed and which worked out for me is to first understand the formula and practice it. So practicing it and writing them down. So this was one thing which I also learned it from my teachers, and also my mom and dad also would encourage me to practice math problems and write them down in your book so that you keep memorizing them. And
Yeah.
along with that, I think one more aspect which I found out is to not have huge list of formulas and memorizing them all together at once. So you need to take it slow. You need to understand the formula and do not rush while you're memorizing the formulas, and take it one by one. And one more aspect which I found it really helpful is writing them down on sticky notes and making sure you put it where you can see it every day. So in that way, you'll get to connect with it every once in a while, and you'll that will actually be it will be marked in your brain. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to sit and memorize about it. And the last thing that I also remember doing is to understand the symbols. So you'll get confused whether we should add a plus b or a minus b. So that's also one important aspect that I used to focus on, is to understand the symbols and memorize those symbols. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like really nice because it's not only about rote learning, but understanding and learning. Of course, it moves into your long term memory and doesn't stay in the short term memory so that you don't have any issues of forgetting. So that's rightly put up. Disha, what about you when I say about the tips and the tricks for learning these particular formulas?
So, Chavi, what I used to do is I used to visualize the things. So
Okay.
it's a fact that when you connect the topics with all the tough things to your visual memory, it will be stored within us, and it will be very much interesting for us. So I feel that we and the coming generation, the kids can use this technique, like they can visualize it. It becomes very easy to memorize things like that. Also, if we can form any story behind the formulas, like if we know that how this formula arrived, either we can know the story or we can create our own story, because in the form of story it's very interesting and it's very exciting. Then it's not then the formulas are not some scary monsters, then it becomes very easy. And one of the tips which I used to do is I used to read the formulas before going to the bed. Like before sleeping, I used to remember it, because when we are learning anything, just before it's sleeping, then our brain remember it for a longer period of time. And suppose we are sleeping for 8 hours a day, so for the 8 hours the brain has memorized those formulas. So for the next day it will be very much easy for you to memorize that. Okay. And for you it won't be tough thing, it will be like, okay, now it's easy for me to memorize it. So I think
Right.
reading before sleeping is one of the things which I used to do, and I would encourage kids to do this, because it helps a lot, really a lot.
Oh, that's great. I think visualization, storytelling is also something which is upcoming when it comes to education. So that's rightly put up, Disha. Okay, so now we move on to Akriti, who's actually having a special appearance today with us. So basically, she's trying to show us how to do mental math easily and in a faster way with some tips and tricks that she has. So let's just look into what Akriti has to tell us.
Hi everyone. So basically, whenever we see, all around us, we have 20% off, or whenever we want to go and buy some shoes or maybe some bags, so 20% off on MRP or something, like on the retail price or something like that. So sometimes it is very difficult for us to actually understand and get what could be the amount for it, 20% flat on all prices, or maybe up to 30%. We don't understand whether it is 10%, 20%, or 30%. So I believe with the help of mental maths, we can actually, do it easily, quickly, and help us to think better as well. So today I'm going to share small tips and tricks where you can actually, uh, do all these things and make them easier.
Okay.
So when I say, now I want all of you to, participate in this thing. So when I say 988 plus 880, so 988 plus 880, do you get the answer in one go, in 1 second? No, because these are complicated numbers, right?
Yeah.
They are not whole numbers. They are actually whole numbers, but they don't have like, they're not nearest to the 10, or maybe they're not nearest to the 100. So it's difficult to add them up. But when we round them up to the nearest 100, so 988 will become 1000, right? And 880, when you round it off to the nearest 100, becomes 900. So
900.
can we solve this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very easy, ma'am.
What could be the
1900.
what could be the number of this one?
1900.
Because it is easier to solve. Now, when I do over here 1900, so basically the number is 988 plus 880. But right now I have taken a round off number. So this is 1900. Now let's see what are the numbers which are left. Over here, the number was 988, right? Here we have taken the round off number to 1000. So what is the difference between 1000 and 988?
12.
12, correct. Similarly, over here, we have taken the number 900 and the number above is 880. What is the round off number over here?
Like it's 20
And
difference was there.
That is 20. Now, what would be the sum of 12 plus 20?
32.
32.
32, correct. Now, what is the number over here? 1900. And this is the sum of here, right? So, if I minus 1900 from 32, is it easier?
Yes.
Let's do one thing. First, subtract 30 from 1900. What would be the number?
1870.
70.
70. Yeah.
Now we need to minus 2 also. What would be the number?
1860.
1868.
Right. So we don't have to use pen or paper. In order to do mental maths, yeah, definitely right now, this is looking a little complicated, or maybe you feel, you need something, pen or paper with you. But when you do this exercise again and again, on regular basis, you can completely do them, in your mind. So this is just a small example of how you can incorporate these ideas. So whenever there is a complicated figure, round it off to the nearest 100, and then whatever the numbers are left, or you need to subtract or add, just again round those number also off to the nearest 10 or maybe 100. So it's easier for you to subtract or add the numbers. I hope this exercise, small exercise, helped all of you.
Definitely.
It did.
Actually, thank you so much for taking us back to our school days and class days where we used to sit blank half of the time. So yeah, thank you for jogging our brains and memory about that. So I think, yes, the way you showed us this method, it is really helpful rather than just seeing the numbers which are not rounded off to their nearest zero place. So definitely it helped. So thank you so much, Akriti, for that tip. And now with this, we come to an end of the episode. But before we end, as you know, our tradition says to give one wrap-up line. So Jane and Disha, over to you now. Please give one wrap-up line for our show.
So I think formulas are really helpful and they are easy. So once you understand the concept behind them, it can help you to find solutions. So instead of making a formula a giant, let it come by your side to help you your giant problems. Yeah.
That's great. Disha.
So, formulas are something which are very easy, honestly, but we make it complicated. So, if we know the right way to solve it, and we have discussed many ways today, so if we can follow any one of them or two, three of them, then I think it will be very easy for the kids.
That's amazing. So thank you so much, Jane. Thank you so much, Disha. Thank you so much, Akriti, for being a part of this show. And I'll soon see you guys with some other interesting topic for our kids.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.